Hello, IEJ76 Ian here, and this is Tier F8 of AOR Season 14, Round 3, the Bahrain Grand Prix. I've qualified a disappointing 11th. I'm going for a two-stop strategy, starting on the super softs, then changing to the softs, and finally a slightly longer super soft stint to end with. So here we are at the start, 5 lights about to come on. We're in 11th place on the grid, and we don't react very well, but slightly better than the Mercedes on the right hand side, so we're up to 10th already, trying to keep an outside line here. This could be really treacherous into this very tight turn 1 with the switch back into turn 2. We run around the outside but leave plenty of room for people on the inside. Denzamo there is ahead of us in the Toro Rosso, and he loses it under power on the curb, and I understand took out ZQ when Denzamo didn't ghost as he should have done, and they were both out of the race. But coming up here, there's a battle between 2 or 3 cars, and we managed to get past our teammate and David Ben, I believe, in the Ferrari, and we're now up to 6th place. So as we did in China, we've kind of profited from others' misfortunes as we just tried to keep out of trouble and not push too hard. In terms of qualifying, pretty disappointing, our lowest qualifying of the season. I didn't expect to be as high up as I was in China, but we mucked our lap up. I think we were 5 or 6 tenths away from what we could have done. I think we potentially could have qualified 7th or 8th. We did a 1:31.792, which was over 2 seconds off pole, so a kind of similar sort of gap to Australia. So moving forward shortly to the beginning of lap 2, and migrating host there, so Denzamo, who hosted the race, obviously crashed out. He left, and there were some perhaps unintended consequences, or perhaps it was a coincidence that the information on the top left hand screen there against the numbers, position numbers, has gone, so we don't know who the other drivers are, and that will continue for the rest of the race. My main concern was whether that would affect if I was lapped later on, and whether I knew it was a driver I could battle or whether I had to let them through. So start of lap 3 here, and I'm showing you this because as we go through this left-hander here, on the left-hand side off the track, you just about see a white Williams, and that's poleman Wild Ditto, who had her coming together with McQuiz. McQuiz ran wide, and when rejoining, Wild Ditto unfortunately collected him and had to make a pit stop, I believe, for a new wing. Moving forward though to lap 4, and we're under pressure from the Ferrari of David Ben. I know it's David Ben, even though it doesn't say, because Mr. Robin, who's the other Ferrari driver, couldn't make this race. Our pace is not particularly good at this point of the race. We're looking to make a pit stop in the next couple of laps, but our super softs are fairly worn already, having used them in qualifying, and David Ben gets a good slipstream up the inside. We try and get him on the second phase of braking, let him go through, and then we try and go for a switch back here, and I thought we had a really good chance of maybe getting through here, but too much wheel spin there, and David Ben was clearing away. We're down to 5th place. Coming now down to the final corner on lap 6, we're still in 5th place because Seka has, I believe, made a pit stop. So we're in a reasonable position, but it's time to come in to the pits and change these super soft tyres. In fairness, this was the lap that we planned to do, so they did last reasonably well. Not too bad with slowing down for the speed limit there, and we'll hope for a quick change. Now we're going to go on to the soft tyres for this middle stint, and we're going to hope to go through to about lap 19, maybe lap 20. 19 was the initial plan, but I'll see if we can stretch it a bit more on these soft tyres. Again, we're going to come out, I think, in 10th place. I've got no idea who that is ahead until I can get a proper glimpse of the car, and then maybe I can have a bit of a guess. So this is our longest stint of the race, and this is a fairly quiet stint for us, but let's see how we get on. We move ahead towards the end of lap 19. We're in 5th place as others have made pit stops, so we kind of maintain our position. Not a lot happened on this middle stint on the soft, so I've not shown you really anything there, no battles at all. It's just a case of trying to keep up a reasonable pace whilst making sure that the tyres lasted to our planned pit stop on lap 19. So we're now going to come in for us on our tyre wear, relatively long stint on the super softs. 10 laps is probably pushing it a bit with the tyre wear we're having, but the softs really had it, so I wanted to stick to plan And as you can see on the top left hand corner, we've got an interesting strategy situation, because the guy in 4th, we don't know yet who that is on the softs, and the guy behind us in 6th is on the mediums. So we've got the quickest tyre of all of those, but obviously the drivers have different pace, so it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to be in a brilliant position. But at this stage we rejoined pretty close to the 6th place guy. That was a Williams, and we'll find out who that is shortly. Right, so on lap 23 we weren't sure if this was Caddy Damus or Wild Ditto, but the fact that the guy on the mediums is all over us and we're on the super soft made it pretty clear that this was Wild Ditto, the pole man, the quickest guy in theory in the race. And we've made a hash up of that corner, and we've let him through quite comfortably. After holding him off for a couple of laps, we had quite good acceleration. We had a lot of rich fuel mix to use. Ahead here later on the lap, on lap 23, and Wild Ditto makes a mistake here, gets really sideways, and I was a little bit cautious on the throttle there. I think if I'd been a bit braver I could have got alongside him. You can see the Williams kind of in and out of lag there, kind of pushing forward, so I wanted to keep out of his way. I could easily damage my wing, so I come down the inside. He was a bit braver on the brakes. We go side by side, give each other lots of room, and again I was looking for a switchback like we had with the Ferrari, and this time a much better exit. I get in the slipstream. I probably should have stayed in the slipstream a bit more, but I was worried about lag. Thought about sending it down the inside, tried to brake late, but Wild Ditto did a much better job, and that was him away and clear in 5th. And now we've got to try and consolidate our 6th place. So lap 26 was still in 6th, and quite a handy gap to the guy behind us who's on the softs, and we make another mistake here at this hairpin, and we've got a 3-second time penalty because we've gone over the track 3 times now. Right, well, moving on to lap 29, it was just a case of stretching these super softs, making sure I didn't get any punctures or any incidents. A big gap to the guy behind. Even with our 3-second penalty, we're going to come home in 6th. It felt quite unsatisfactory, but I have to say that I wasn't very quick all weekend, and getting 6th place from 11th on the grid, again consistent, no really major mistakes, and it's our 3rd top 6 finish, so I can't complain too much. And here's the podium. Washi, his 2nd win from 3 races, takes the lead in the championship in the Toro Rosso. 2nd place, again, Mr. Consistent, is McQuiz, the Estonian driver, in the Mercedes. And 3rd, the debutant, 1st race of the season, the Swedish guy, Nezran92, in the Renault. Now, there's no race for the next 2 Sundays because of the real-life United States and Mexican Grand Prix, but we'll be back for round 4 in 3 weeks' time, and that will be at Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix.